Hello, here we go. Another really exciting video. This is on using equivalent ratios to solve problems, money problems, speed problems, temperature problems, anything where we're dealing with a percentage we can use. We can use this for a whole bunch of stuff, but that's the main purpose. So the main thing I want you to remember, this is a good thing to write in your notes, is new over original. We're always going to put whatever is new on the top. So if I hit, let's say I have 4 on the top and 10 on the bottom. My original was 4. My new number is going to be 4. My original was 10. My new would be 4. When you're doing this in your work, I always want you to identify how you're organizing your ratio. The no works, new over original. I'll know what you're talking about if you use that. Okay, let's move on. So the very first thing you're going to do here is you need to set up a ratio. So let's take a look at this here. You'll also notice that at the top, I'm indicating that this ratio is about the percent and this is about the time. That's just going to allow me to have those equivalent ratios set up. So in this one, 100%, the 100% is going to be there pretty much all the time, because the 100% is how we measure all of our other percents. So in this one, my new and my original would look like this. So this word problem, if we were to do this in a word problem, the question would say something like, Mr. Paul bought a wetsuit for $120. He got a 50% discount. How much did Mr. Paul pay for the wetsuit? So my original price, 100% of the price would go opposite the 100. So the original cost was $120. In this case, I've got a 50% discount. So what did I actually pay though? So I actually paid 50%. This one's a little bit simpler. What if, we'll solve this first. So 50%, this is what I would end up paying as the equivalent ratio. Okay. If, for example, the discount was 40%, like so, and the question was, how much did he pay? If I saved 40%, I have to subtract that from 100 to find out how much I would pay. So I would actually end up paying 60%, like so. Hopefully that's an eraser. Good. All right, so we have our ratio set up, and every problem sets up this way. What is the original? What is the new? So any combination there we can work through. Very first step in this process is going to be setting up the ratio. The second one is going to be solve for x. So I don't know what x is. That's the amount I'm going to pay. So remember, through algebra, we showed you the proof. This is the shortcut. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply. So I am going to multiply the two numbers that show up across the equal sign. If you actually look carefully, it kind of makes an x there, however you want to think about it. So I would take 120 times 50. Answer is going to be 6,000. Okay, so I've done my second step. Number 1, set up the equation. Number 2, cross multiply. Third thing we have to do is we divide by the third number. So I take my 6,000, divide by 100, which gives me 60. Now, there's another scenario that I want you to be aware of, because this is another clue. So the new over original is one way to look at it. This is another, the is of. So if I want to know what is 20% of 80. Wow, that is very slow. So what is 20% of 80? Right? So keep those two in mind. What is the is? It says right here. I'm looking for 20% of. Where do you think 80 is going to go? 80 is going to go on the bottom. So here we go. Let's try one. So what is 20% of 120? The is goes on the top. What is 20%? My 20%. Now remember, percentages are always out of 100. That's pretty much, in these questions, are always going to be the third number. So the other number of, right there, 120, that would be my of on the bottom. So I have 120 down here. How do I solve? Cross multiply and then divide. All right, so that's quickly how to set up your ratios. I don't think I have another slide. No, I don't. That's how you set up the ratios, the new over the original, or the is over the of. The next video I'm going to shoot is going to take you through some examples on how we do that. Thank you.